पेश है कलश प्रीमियम कलर कोटेड स्टील, जिसमें घुले हैं ऐसे रंग जो बदलते वक्त में भी रहे हमेशा आपके साथ। अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बाय आर्सेलरमित्तल निप्पॉन स्टील इंडिया।
Of rich steel processing experience and with a vision turning into a reality, Magnum has become one of the largest consumer of flat steel products. Magnum operates two modern state-of-art steel processing centers at Gurgaon and Bawal, Haryana.
पेश है कलश प्रीमियम कलर कोटेड स्टील, जिसमें घुले हैं ऐसे रंग जो बदलते वक्त में भी रहे हमेशा आपके साथ। अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बाय आर्सेलरमित्तल निप्पॉन स्टील इंडिया। Of rich steel processing experience and with a vision turning into a reality, Magnum has become one of the largest consumer of flat steel products. Magnum operates two modern state-of-art steel processing centers at Gurgaon and Bawal, Haryana. पेश है कलश प्रीमियम कलर कोटेड स्टील, जिसमें घुले हैं ऐसे रंग जो बदलते वक्त में भी रहे हमेशा आपके साथ। अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बाय आर्सेलरमित्तल निप्पॉन स्टील इंडिया। experience and with a vision turning into a reality, Magnum has become one of the largest consumer of flat steel products. Magnum operates two modern state-of-art steel processing centers at Gurgaon and Bawal, Haryana.
पेश है कलश प्रीमियम कलर कोटेड स्टील जिसमें घुले हैं ऐसे रंग जो बदलते वक्त में भी रहे हमेशा आपके साथ। अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बाय आर्सेलरमित्तल निप्पॉन स्टील इंडिया।
With over 4 decades of rich steel processing experience and with a vision turning into a reality, Magnum has become one of the largest consumer of flat steel products. Magnum operates two modern state-of-art steel processing centers at Gurgaon and Bawal, Haryana.
Back with a new program today, which clearly shows our lives are coming back to normal now. But do not take this for granted. The pandemic is not over yet. We still have cases. We still have a new wave at the corner. Please take utmost care of yourself and your loved ones. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Monica Bachchan. I'm a founder of Metalogic Projects Management Services. It is a maximum women staff organization because we have 80% women staff working with Metalogic. Today on 10th of August 2021, we are presenting you webinar on Steel Service Center for Steel Producers, sponsored by ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India, Triveni Steel, Steel House, and our associate partners, Sharoff Steel and MAGNUM. This is our 35th webinar during COVID-19 pandemic. I hope you gained an insight from our last webinar on Indian alloy steel held on 23rd July. The recording of that webinar is available on Metalogic YouTube channel. Do not miss to subscribe to Metalogic YouTube channel for mining and steel related videos. This webinar is currently live on youtube.com/metallogicpms. In case you find any difficulty from GoToWebinar software, you can watch the live streaming of this webinar on our YouTube channel. Viewers, I'd like to make a mention that Metalogic has come up with a new portal, mymetalogic.com. And all webinars, recordings and reports are available on the portal to the subscribers. Please do not miss to subscribe. Just a short housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the panel discussion, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. I will bring them up during the presentation, and we will also have time for questions at the end. Always mention your company name and organization which you are representing and who would you like to address your question to. We will also be having few audience poll questions, which are always exciting. So watch the program very carefully till the end because your vote matters. Before we start, I'd like to give a brief about this session to you all. Steel service centers have been in operation in the United States since the early colonial period. At that time, they were known as iron mongers, and only about 10% of steel products in use at that time passed through service centers. Since then, only 30% of industrial steel products and about 45% of specialty steel products are processed in steel service centers. In India, the steel service center act as an intermediate between steel producers and end users who provide inventory management, certain special application for steel finishing and distribution services. The concept makes it a vital link in the steel supply chain. In general, steel customers range from plants producing home appliances and office equipments to those manufacturing auto parts and construction material. The service center provides the various processing facilities with all kinds of steels to serve the customers with desired shape and volume and timely deliveries. So with that basic introduction, I will leave the floor to the panelists. Today, our expert panelists are Mr. Rakesh Chauhan, Joint Managing Director at JSWMI Steel Service Center Private Limited. Mr. MC Agrawal, Executive Director, Sales and International Trade Division at Steel Authority of India Limited. Mr. Arun Pathak, Head Operations, Service Center and Fabrication at ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India. Mr. Ashirwad Agarwal, Managing Director at Triveni Steel. And Mr. Swapnil Amritkar, COO at ShopWorx, and I'm your moderator. To start with, I would like to welcome Mr. Rakesh Chauhan, Joint Managing Director at JSWMI Steel Service Center Private Limited, to open the session. So over to you, and I think you have a presentation to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm making you a presenter.
So the presentation is visible now?
So I've just made you a presenter.
Ignore.
Yeah.
From beginning. So is it visible now?
It is visible. You can put it on slideshow mode, sir.
Yeah. It's fine.
Absolutely fine, sir. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Monica, and I would like to thank Metalogic for organizing this session on Steel Service Center, which is generally, I find, a forgotten area of this business. Whereas this is a very, very integral part of the steel business, overall steel business, because it is the final leg of supply chain when we get the material from the plant and deliver it to the customer. It is a very, very important part of supplies to OEM, not just OEM, but also the rural market. Not just rural market, but also the MSME sector who can't afford to have processing facilities of this nature. So this is a very, very key part, and somehow all the webinars focus mainly on either raw material or steel making capacities or various other aspects, excepting this particular field. So I would like to thank Metalogic for selecting this topic first of all. And I would like also to wish my audience and the panelists and everyone to be here to attend it. And I hope at the end of the program, they will have some takeaways. So to start with, let me just take you through my presentation. So this is JSW MI with 4 steel plants, 4 service centers here. Just give me a moment, this screen is getting overlapped with the cameras.
Sure.
1 minute, huh? Yeah, so we have today 4 plants, one in the west, Pune. The second one to come up was in Palwal. This came up in 2018. Pune came up in 2015. Then very recently we have taken over Marubeni as our own 50% joint venture, Marubeni Itochu. So that was in Chennai. We took over in the month of June. And now we are coming with a greenfield project at Ahmedabad. So this is near Maruti's, Suzuki's second site, which is in Bagapura area. So JSW MI is basically JSW and Marubeni 50-50 joint venture. This joint venture started somewhere in 2011, and it's almost 10 years of association, mainly with the aim of setting up service centers, because Marubeni has an expertise in this area. And a Japanese company, as we know, there's a lot to learn from them in terms of discipline and quality. Little bit about our facilities. The pink ones are the existing capacities, and the yellow ones are the expansion which we are going to undertake. So the first one at Pune to come up was with the 1 slither line and 3 cut-to-length lines. Then came Palwal with 1 slither and 2 cut-to-length line. Chennai, which we have just have taken our umbrella. This has only a cut-to-length line and a blanking line. It's a new product which Chennai offers. And as I said, Ahmedabad is a greenfield project. So today's total processing capacity is close to 0.6 million ton. And by next year, 2022 calendar year, say by December or so, we will be having a production capacity of about 1.5 million tons per annum, and a shipment capacity close to 1.2 million tons. At these facilities, we are primarily focusing on automotive sectors, the appliance sector, which is a very, very fast-growing sector today, and then electrical steel. We do not have our own HR processing facilities here, but whenever it comes to HR processing, we bank upon our mother plant at Vijayanagar, where we have a substantial volume, processing volume at Vijayanagar, close to 1 lakh tons a month. So whenever we need HR processing, we take help of Vijayanagar facilities, and we have internally tied up with the local service providers also to meet the requirements of HR processing. Just to share some good steps, 2 steps I would say, in the direction of our green effort to reduce carbon footprint. One is we are using steel pellets now and trying to replace wooden pellets as much as possible. By this, we are reducing the trees in the to be cut, and not just that, we are helping our own industry, that is use of steel. To this date, we have already reached a 50% capacity. 50% usage has already been converted from wood to steel. This is on a replacement basis. It goes to the customer. We have a monitoring mechanism to get it back. And then comes the solar initiative, which we have taken very recently. Now our total power consumption, 50% of that is being met by solar energy. So these are two key steps which we have taken, and I would urge everybody in the industry actually to have these kinds of facilities and reduce, especially the wood packaging, which has been there for so many years now. Now, why do we need service centers? Service centers, as I said, it is the last leg of supply chain to the OEMs. It is the last. It is probably the only way you can serve MSME sector. It is the only way you can reach the rural market. And this service center can play a dual role. One, as a job worker to any steel producing company, and also as an intermediate reseller, which many people need us. Why do they need us? The customers, they need us because they need just-in-time delivery. They need us because they need exact sizes and accuracy of processing to the finest possible level. And you just can't meet the delivery schedules if you don't manage an inventory. And you also cannot afford to keep the inventory at a high level. So and very intelligent inventory management has to be adopted. Then, as I said, at times it is simply not possible for the mills to serve the customer because the SKUs are so many, the sizes are so little, so small that it is impossible to meet these requirements from the plants. And of course, the yield loss control, why to waste unnecessarily the steel. When you do it at service center, you optimize it. How does it help steel mills? Steel mills love to get an opportunity to dispatch in bulk in coil forms. And who better to get it? Steel service centers. So we provide what steel mills actually want to move the material in bulk quantity. And then when you have a service center, you have an interim quality check mechanism at the service center. And when you are able to meet not just the big customers who use steel in coil form, but also customers who can be serviced from the service center, naturally the mills widen their customer basket. And of course, for the inventory management, what is important for customer is actually important for steel mill also. So this is what is about steel service center and why of steel service center. Now I'll take you to another dimension of what is the scenario of steel service centers. So the data here mentioned are purely our own assessment, internal intelligence, market intelligence. So there will be a room for some errors here and there, but by and large we feel confident of its correctness. So for the sake of understanding, we have categorized this in three parts, A, B, and C. A are such mills which are having their own steel making facilities, and especially the cold rolling product, which is generally the first product when it comes to automotive appliance and electrical steel. These are category A we have put, and then category B is such service centers who are international and also are of the same quality standards and with the best of the lines they have put up. So this is category B, and the rest of the steel centers, they are also very good with state-of-art facilities. and but these are all Indian mills generally, and you can see that they also have a very good share of 2.7 million tons per annum. So the bulk of the business still is being managed by the category A people who have built a capacity of 8.1 million tons per annum. B takes share of 1.4 million tons per annum, and the C takes care of 2.7. So overall today, as we speak, the capacity is 12.2 million tons processing capacity. And when it comes to the utilization, so what processing has been done last year is 8.2 million tons. So we see that there is capacity utilization of 67%. So broadly, if you take a thumb rule, 70% is the supposed your capacity utilization today. So you have today in India 30% surplus availability in capacity. Just when I started, I explained that we are adding some capacity that is around 0.8 million tons. So this will bring the capacity to 13 million tons by next year. And among the category A people, I'm not sure if anybody else is planning to increase the capacities. If it happens, then it will be adding to it. Generally, these three categories have splitting operations. Then they have a cut-to-length facility which can either cut straight in rectangular form or trapezoidal form also. Not all have trapezoidal shapes because it needs oscillating shape. And then some of the blanking lines service centers are there, like we have in Chennai. And there are some more Costco and all. They also have profiling lines with them. Then there are some good cold forming also is available with some of the service centers. Scalar welded blanks are also available, but those are far and few. So in broadly, these four categories suffice in most of the service centers in India as we speak. Now I have tried to do some projection, for the next 6-7 years. So if you see, again, the automotive thing is a study by our own team, and we find that by 2027, the auto sector, after this pandemic and all, accounting for all these things, the new dimensions which have come into our lives in the last 1.5 years. The auto sector, which was actually slated to go for a CAGR of around 8%, now I feel it should be close to 6.5%. As far as the appliance is concerned, this was also moving at a pace of around 9 to 10%. But even if we take a conservative number of 8.13%, it comes to around 8.13%. Electrical steel, even after introduction of electric vehicles, we are hoping that the growth of electrical steel should also be close to 6%. So overall, if we consider only auto and appliance, because electrical is very small capacity today, it is hardly 4 lakh tons per annum. And even if we add Geo in it, it is around 7 to 8 lakh tons per annum. So at 8% CAGR, we are expecting the demand, this particular segment to grow. Now, in terms of steel consumption, last year the steel consumption was 100 million tons. And out of this, 48% was shared by finished steel of flat products, and the balance 52 was shared by long products. Out of the 48% of flat products, which is 48 million tons, we find that the downstream contributed to 18.9 or say 19 million tons. So out of 19 million tons, we have seen in the previous slide that the steel service centers processed 8.2 million tons. So this means that about 43 to 45% of the steel downstream consumption of steel goes through only service center. Only 45% of the steel out of the downstream goes for processing through service centers today. Where do the balance go? You know that in case of electrical steel, companies have started putting their own service centers. In case of CR usage also, a lot of OEMs have their own splitting and blanking lines, like Neil Metals and Agarwal and they have their own facilities. So a lot of companies still participate in one form. So these numbers actually are knocked off from there, and only 45% are routed through steel service centers today. Now, we have estimated as to how the capacities are going to ramp up by 2026-27, and where does the consumption figure reach? So in our estimate, the consumption figure should reach somewhere close to 160, 170 million tons. Although the national steel policy says that by 2030, we should be having 300 million ton capacity, but I think after what has happened in the last few years, those numbers are not going to happen in any case. So by 2026-27, I think the capacity might touch somewhere around 170, 180, and then the consumption should be close to 170, 160, somewhere around that. Say 50% of that, it will be then flat products if the ratio happens in the same way. Although we are witnessing that most of the capacity additions are now happening in flat steel, the focus suddenly has shifted to flat steel because of whatever reasons. We know what reasons are. So of that, again, if we did knock off 43%, then we find that about 14 million ton is the steel service center capacity which is required even in 2026-27, which is about 67 years from now. And how much capacity we have seen? That 13 million ton capacity we already have. So the message which I am trying to put across to the panel and people who are listening is that now when we go for capacity additions, we need not rush, but we have to study which our mills are coming and where are we going, where should we actually invest. In my opinion, the fastest growing segment in the next 6-7 years should be the appliance segment and the electrical steel. The auto will move at a regular pace. So the lines in thinner sections, the lines with the high-end surface quality, these should be the focus. Besides, if there is anything new which develops in the way, then we can always consider. But in terms of capacity, the 30% surplus is already good to take care of next 5 to 6 years time. This is about the flat products, and in the last slide, I would touch upon the long products where we do not have today the presence, but I think some of our people have this presence because TMT bar, TMT cut and bend, and this particular very high volume, 30 million ton is the consumption per annum in the country today. But if you look at the capacities in the country in the organized sector, it is hardly 3 lakh tons a year. And with the labor problems, with what we have seen with the reverse migration, what we have seen, people from cities going back to villages, adopting farming more to serving the industry. This is going to be a problem area for all of us. Skilled labor is going to be an issue. then inventory control at the site, the losses, reducing the wastage, and these are the big advantages. So I feel TMT cut and bend, which hasn't really attracted the attention of people, should be one area where we should attract the attention. And besides that, you see, steel is something, yeah, there's last minute. Steel is something where there's no end to giving shapes and sizes and, giving good usage of the material, because this is the most friendly item we have. So there can be many things which I might have omitted, but these things broadly come to my mind. And thank you for the time, Monica, and that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And this is quite a projection you have given. It's always great to have such projection in the first, first slide itself. That actually gives a food for thought. With this, before I move on to the next panelist, I would like to raise a question to our audience. Audience, please be ready for the poll. Question on your screen. So the question is, can India witness steel service centers on a standalone basis? Your options are yes or no. So please vote very, very quickly, and people watching on YouTube, please post your answers in the comment section of YouTube. Can India witness steel service center on a standalone basis? Yes or no? So I will only be able to give you a few seconds to vote. You need to be very, you need to stay alert all the time. Can India witness steel service center on a standalone basis? The options are yes or no. And we have the results now. On YouTube, you can send your answers in the comment section. We're closing the poll. And here we have the answer. 78% of our audience feel that India will witness steel service centers on standalone basis, whereas 22% still feels no. Okay. Now we'd like to move to our next panelist. We have Mr. MC Agarwal, Executive Director, Sales and International Trade Division at Steel Authority of India Limited. I would like to welcome you, sir, requesting you to please unmute yourself. Sir.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. I am not in a position to see the screen, but I think you are in a position to see me. So
shall I? So I need to open your PPT. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
I will just put it on sharing. Are you able to see that?
Yeah. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to all attending this webinar. And thank you, Monica ji, and thank you, Mr. Rakesh, giving so elaborate presentation on service center, because you are key in that service center. I'll be avoiding those same talks what you have already given in numbers, etc. But I'll be looking for what opportunities we are looking in from service center. So yes, this is something like a similar introduction what you have given. The service center, what is service center? For producers, for consumers. What are the things, how the producer look at service center, how the consumers look at service center. Basically, if you look really, there are bulk producers in the country, which you are all aware, as Steel Authority of India Limited, we are a bulk producer, almost 20 million tons a year, which we are producing, and hardly we go through service center directly. We sell to either through the trade channel or directly to the consumers. So basically, the service center becomes in between that bulk producers and consuming industry. So this can be a trade, this can be a service center, and trade can have its own service center, or even service centers can be owned by the main producers. It can be owned by the consumer industry. It can be owned by in between, like if I talk about trade or maybe service providers in between. So why service center? Again, consumers' needs are getting changed every time nowadays, and you find that every time, in case as if consuming industry, if you want to change your service center, it's difficult for you. So it's better go through service center. You can bulk producers can focus on their bulk production and consuming industry can focus on their consuming industry, and the service center job can be done by in between the people available. I can give you one example here to understand for all of you, like LPG cylinder manufacturers. LPG cylinder manufacturers take the HR coil from bulk producers and they cut it in the different shape and then go for a cylinder. Even in spite of going in this route, they can very well take that processed material from the service center and straightway go for cylinder manufacturers. So they can cut down that much process. So this example just I gave you. And the second example which I would like to give you, because in today's time when the space is becoming constraints, which I was talking to one of my service center who is buying material from sale and using a service center. Particularly in TMT, when you buy a TMT in full length, you need a lot of space and then processing at your own site. But if you buy in the form of cut and bend, then your space requirement at your site is very less. So why service centers? This is what I just want to submit to you. Next, please. As I say, service centers, independent service centers, which just now Monica ma'am has already taken a poll, whether independent service centers or maybe service centers with producers also. So there are independent service center, and then OEMs can own their service center, which is happening nowadays. And third is that bulk producers like we can have our own service centers. So there are difference. Now service centers, independent service centers can concentrate only on service center activities. They can increase their service center activities. They can provide whatever is required by the market on day-to-day basis. They can change. But in case OEM has service center, he has own limitations. He cannot go beyond certain limitations. As per his process, he has developed his service center. In there any changes, then he has to spend again the money on that. For bulk producers, it becomes very difficult for them to have service centers, because you're producing, you are engaged in bulk production, and when your material is moving in the market, you don't know what type of services are required by the bulk producers. So always independent service centers can be a better option for going, as I think this poll was indicating. Next, please. Here, I just want to touch upon which my previous speaker has already touched upon a long how the the scenario of service center outside India. If you see almost around total steel production in the world, and the service center which is estimated is around 25%. So, and wherein in case you see in my assessment in the entire country, which generally we keep on assessing in between, so it is hardly 10% in the country. In case we go for the total steel industry, in case you go for flat, it is slightly on around 20% side. And then accordingly, in case we go for a only downstream product, then it goes slightly on around 40% side. And now worldwide, people are looking for this steel services, steel center services to go up to the level of almost 50%. So now here, only one thing can be seen. There is a lot of scope which can come to the India also. Next, please. Yeah, just nutshell. I think there are some current service centers, major service centers across that major locations. If you see the major locations for service center are like Pantnagar, where a lot of auto segments are there. Jamshedpur, you are well aware. Pune is also on the similar side. Chennai is again auto, and NCR also we are having. So this is just a picture of how the service centers are there. Major service centers available across the country. Which, yeah, next please. So now here I'd like to talk to more on this subject, because this may be interesting to the viewers which are connected to this thing. As such, today, in case we talk as a sale, we are hardly in service center business. We are on the bulk producers. We are supplying to majority to the consumers, major industries, and our around 20% sale goes to the trade segment. And trade segment, definitely it must be going, half of them or more than half is going through some cutters, some service centers. The individuals have made service centers, and the material being supplied to the end consumers. So now we are coming up facility as RSP. Some of the viewers must be aware that RSP is coming with the hot strip mill and all the modern capabilities with downstream product which are suited for the service center. So this gives us a way forward for increasing our service center facilities directly owned by SAIL, or we can have independent service centers where we can have a continuous supplies. 3, we can have our own channel from where service centers can be adopted. So this is the way forward, which can be increasing the service center facilities for sale. Second one, it is a slightly a different subject, but I would like to note, and there we are going very whole hog in the country now. Earlier, our majority of supply used to be through directly and trade, as I was mentioning. But now we are in a process of appointing tier 1 distributors across country. Now you can say why what this tier 1 distributor is doing in this workshop of steel service center webinar. It is something tier 1 distributors, because being a bulk producers, it may not be possible for sale for going service centers as JSW and EMNS has, because they are already having the different concept. But we are also looking in that concept, but for us slightly difficult for going for a state service center directly owned by sale. So now we are coming up with this tier 1. This we have already started at certain locations. I will not like to name the locations here, but we have already gone for 2-3 locations where we appointed service centers, tier 1 distributors, and these tier 1 distributors are supposed to have the service centers, all facilities of service center, right from starting minimum and measure, and there we are going to full hog, and I think that is the way channel where we will be looking for service centers across country for sale. This will be, you can say owned by sale, or you can say independent service center, whatever way, because it is difficult to nomenclature, give the nomenclature to this tier 1 distributor. But this is going to be with the service center facilities. So this will add up facility to the entire country. And this gives a opportunity. Now I'll come to that next slide, but before that, this gives the opportunity to lot of startups, lot of people who wants to dream themselves for going for this business. They can very well attach to it and then go for service center facilities. Second point, which I think some of viewers may be aware, that already MSME sector, which is located near our plants, we have started adopting them, almost adopting, giving a lot of facilities, specific, special, even monetary benefits, plus specific priorities for them. And these MSMEs we are promoting near to our plant sites initially, then it can be carried forward to other locations also, so that they can process a lot of material, having service center facilities, and they can then produce and give it back to our plants itself. Next, please. Here, I would like to say this business opportunities which I was talking to just now. Basically, steel center can give a lot of business opportunities, as I was mentioning. When the business goes up, like the percentage of service center available in countries at very minimum now, and in case we go for this increased consumption, which my previous speaker was also talking, we are looking in almost the steel consumption of 125 million tons by 24, and then later on it is around 196 million tons by 2031. It is difficult to predict a figure of 2031, although we have a steel policy available for that. But this 125 is not very far, because already we have touched in between 100 plus consumption, and then this COVID has reduced slightly. But again, this year we are going very full hog, so product consumption is going to go up. Well, the consumption of steel will go up, and definitely when the scope for service center is going to increase. So there is a tremendous opportunities for people who wants to go in this business. And particularly in case I talk for the sale also, the model which I have suggested, this model is open and this can be seen by everybody. And we are going to full hog in that model, where the opportunities for business as well as the service center will be available to the country also. As I was talking, last line, that is OEM, MSME. MSME I already talked for the near to the plants. OEM, definitely, as I was giving you example of like LPG cylinder manufacturers. One more example which I can give you, the HR coil, which is consumed by the pipe manufacturers. The pipe manufacturers generally they take HR coil, they slating line, they have their slating line, they have their all other facilities available. So there also there's a possibility the service center can come in between, and they can go for straightaway a slit which is suited for one particular dia of pipe, and they can start using it. So there's a lot of opportunity, and the business is very big. And as I was telling you, startups definitely, when you are looking for a bulk production units, there's a heavy investments. You are going here for end use consumptions. There's a investments are high, but for startups, this can be some sort of a business, and which is going to come up and which is going to grow in the country. there's a lot of opportunities. Startups can work for steel centers, and sale is definitely going to go in a big way. So this is, I just want to submit to all viewers. I think this is what from my side. Any questions will be taken later. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this. So just give me a moment. So before we move on to the next panelist, I would like to raise next poll question. Audience, please be ready to vote. And the question is on your screen. What is the expected steel centers capacity in the country by 2025? We have got 4 options. The question is, what is the expected steel centers capacity in the country by 2025? And your options are 15 million tons per annum, 25 million tons per annum, or 30 million tons per annum. Please vote very, very quickly. People watching on YouTube, please send your answers in the comment section. What is the expected steel centers capacity in the country by 2025? 15 million ton or 25 or 30 million ton per annum? Please vote. So we have the answers now. Answer on your screen. So 53% of our audience feels 25 million ton per annum, whereas 27% feels 30 million ton per annum and 20% feels 15 million per annum. So the maximum vote goes to 25 million ton per annum. In next 4 to 5 years, we can expect the capacity building up for steel service centers. With this, I would like to welcome our next panelist. We have Mr. Arun Pathak, Head Operations Service Centers and Fabrication at ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India. I would like to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to participate in this this first kind of webinar about the service center. As Mr. Chauhan was telling, we are seeing that many seminar on steel producer on mill or on raw material, but this is the first kind of seminar or webinar we are looking. Definitely, this will help to understand what is going on with the competitor, with the service center industries, and this will be beneficial to all. So thank you, Mr. Rakesh and Mr. Agrawal, for giving your thought and giving the lights of service center business. With the same, I would like to present a few slides for the service center. Monica, can you please give me the...
Sure. Just one. So, sir, keep your PPT open, and now you have a message on your screen to share my screen.
Yeah, now it is visible?
Yes, and you can put it on slideshow mode, sir.
Yeah.
So, over to you.
Good afternoon all. As you know, this is ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel now. This is the joint venture of ArcelorMittal with the 60% partnership and Nippon Steel by 40% partnership. At present, we are running somewhere 7.4 million ton per annum, and very soon our plan is to expand our facility in Hazira and other part of the India, and it will go up to 30 million ton capacity by 2030. As a MS India and Nippon Steel, we are having global benchmark technical expertise in operations in auto sector steel, and we are having very good basket in European market. Definitely it will come to India. It will take some time, but definitely this product will definitely come to India. As a competition, this is the new entry of ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. So this is very good for the steel industries, and this will see a major change in terms of competition. ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel is a pioneer for all branded product, and they specialize for advanced high strength material. which is required to reduce the vehicle weight, which will increase the efficiency, and all the research are going on all across the world. ArcelorMittal is having very good distribution network inside the country, and this will keep us alive to reach the last leg of the customer, like rural area and MSMEs. So rest of the thing I will skip because all the panelists are talking on the same part. I would like to show you where we are. We are located all across the India. Our iron ore plant or pelletization plant or eastern coast of the India, from where we are taking our raw material to Hazira, which is the single largest location flat steel plant. From Hazira, we are distributing our material to various service centers, various hypermart by the means of road, rail, and sea transport. I will not talk much about this slide because already touched by the panelist. As per the Indian National Steel Policy, we are targeting to touch 300 million ton crude steel capacity by 2030. So why India? Because of what are the advantages? Because as a population, at present, our per capita steel consumption is very low. In you can say in urban area, it is somewhere 74, and in rural area, it is very less, somewhere 19 to 20 kg per capita. So with the robust demand and government infrastructure projects which are coming, Sagarmala, Amrit, 100 Smart City, Jal Jeevan Mission, definitely these will boost up the requirement of steel at every stage. Again, the automotive will be a major factor for steel demand. Upcoming policies about the electric vehicle and hybrid vehicle will definitely add the requirement of the steel. As a value chain, I would throw some light on AM&S strength. We are having beneficiation plant from where we are pumping the slurry to our pelletization plant, and from the sea route we are taking it to our Hazira plant where we are doing the rolling, and from end customer to just-in-time delivery, and at service center we are customizing the sizes for the customer, and we are having multi-level transport facility at different all across the India. These are the product basket for AM&S India. We are having all the products in our basket which can be processed at service center. Why service center is important in terms of steel mills? Service center is a bridge between steel mill and the customer. Because as Mr. Agrawal and Mr. Rakesh was telling that because of the bulk production, they can't enter into it is very difficult for the mill to have a service center setup, definitely. But if you want to reach to last leg of the steel consumer, we have to provide the solution. And for that, steel service center is very, very important to have a linkage between steel mill and the steel customers, because customers want material in their size, in their tolerances, in their specific requirement. So all this can be done at the service center. We can maintain the quality with the small lot. We can provide just-in-time delivery. We can guarantee the services and with the quality product. As far as AM&S India's service centers is concerned, we are having 6 processing centers at different part of the India. Our total capacity is 3.2 MTPA per annum. We are having processing facility for all the product, including CR and HR, and that to high strength. We can process high strength HR material up to 800 MPa at our service center. Apart from the Hazira, the special lines which we are having for the yellow goods segment, these are the service center capacity where we can process high strength material. At Calcutta, we are having one fabrication unit which is related for the manufacturing of bridges, which can be a further expansion of the service center. In going forward, customer will ask ready-made beam, ready-made structure from us. So that can be a possibility or opportunity for the steel mills to have a service center, or for any other service provider to have a service center for this. This is the basic model for the service center. All have speak about, a lot about this. The basic principle of the service center is processing, packing, create inventory, to just-in-time delivery, handling and distribution for customers. As we are talking about the service center, how the service center should be in future. At present, we are working in this level, medium level. We are catering only up to slitting and cut length requirements for the customer. But going forward, it can be extended up to press blanking. Customer may ask, or customer may ask to provide the final product, the final banking product to the automotive company, for the vendors, for the tier 1 vendors, and for the tier 2 vendors. They can ask to us. For the burn to save, this is also a very good opportunity for the service center, where burn to save plates can be offered to yellow goods segment. They can take spider, they can take boom with the defined shape, so that it will reduce the transportation cost from the steel mill to the customer, and at the same time the customer will be happy to get the material for their direct use, not for the non-value added processing. So this will be the future concept for the service center, and definitely it will take time, but definitely it will come. This is the comparison I would like to throw, the difference between trade and service center. If the service center is having backup with the mill, we can maintain, or we can make the product as per the customer requirement, because a lot of companies are doing their value engineering in terms of tolerances, thickness tolerances, and they are looking for the saving. And in thickness tolerance, they are going to up to great extent to maintain the thickness tolerance band in a prescribed limit, so that they will save in terms of weight, because every steel mill is selling material in terms of weight. At the same time, with the service center, we can reduce the wastages. As Mr. Chauhan was telling, that the yield improvement is the major part, where we can save and we can pass on the benefit to the customer. This is the major factor where service center has to play a vital role in terms of the steel industries. This is the modernization and changing landscape for the service center, which we can say we are far behind in terms of technology at the service center. Still, our all the service center, though it is with POSCO or with JSWMI or with MNS, we have to work a lot in terms of modernization. We should work for the automation. We should work for the 4.0 industries 4.0. This will help us to improve our productivity. At the same time, this will help to in terms of human safety, because service center business is a very safety hazard business. The small slits may lead to a bigger accident. So in terms of automation and in terms of human machine interface, a lot of things needs to be done, and this will happen now. A lot of service centers are interlinking their processing line to their server, so that they will get online data, on-time data to on their tablet, on their mobile phone, on their desktop, on dashboard. So this is going to happen very soon. This is the modernization which is required for the service center business. What we are doing at MNS, as a MNS, we are adopting for the digitalization, and our entire value chain, service supply chain management is linked with the plant, with the in terms of with the help of SAP. Market research is available for all OEMs and SMEs, and inventory management for the customer, just-in-time delivery, customized sizes, shorter replacement model cycle. Recently, we have launched e-sale, which is direct customer can direct go to the site and can purchase the steel, which is a new thought process. Definitely, it will take time to develop, but this is the time where we should talk about the e-sales and model like Amazon and Flipkart for steel also. These are the future demands. I would try to show some growth for the future requirement. Automotive sector around the demand would be around, this is some assumptions, but around 10%. Airport would be around 20%. Infrastructure, definitely with the government policy and all, the infrastructure will be in boom in coming days. Railways, oil and gas, rural is definitely a area where we have to touch and where we have to reach as a steel producer, and as a service provider, we should touch the rural area to increase their per capita steel consumption. Thank you from my side. This is from MS. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Arun sir. And with this, I would like to raise our next poll question to our audience. Audience, please be ready. The question on your screen. Do you feel steel service centers will be a big support to the Indian MSME sector? So you have got three options: yes, no, maybe. Please be very, very quick to answer this poll question. Do you feel steel service center will be a big support to Indian MSME sector? After this poll question, we will move on to our next panelist, Mr. Ashirwad Agrawal. Audience, please be very quick. And people watching on YouTube, please send your answers in the comment section. Do you feel steel service center will be a big support to the Indian MSME sector, which was actually touched by Mr. MC Agrawal? So we have the answers now. Result on your screen. So 93% of our audience feel yes, we need steel service center. It is a big support for Indian MSME sector. 2% feels no, and 5% feels maybe. So we will go by 93%. So with this, I would like to welcome Mr. Ashirwad Agarwal, Managing Director of Triveni Steel. Sir, over to you.
Thanks. Good afternoon, Monica. Do I give my presentation?
Yes, I will just make you presenter.
Yes.
Right. Over to you.
Yes. Hi, friends. Thanks, Monica. Thanks, Metalogic, to having me over. This is Ashirwad Agarwal from Triveni Steel. I'm a third-generation family business. Started my career at the age of 16 selling steel. And today, we are a 50-year-old organization. We started by my late father, Amritkar Agrawal. We recently celebrated 50 years of being in Bangalore with steel. We have a state-of-art processing facility in Bangalore, spread around 10 acres. I guess we are one of the largest facility in South India. We cater to 8,000 plus customers. We operate our facility 24/7. And I'm proud to say that we have a professional set of people who head the organization. We have a CEO for a service center. Our end customers have individual product managers to cater to them. And our entire team stays in-house. So in COVID times, our facility was running 24/7. Our partners to our success have been SAIL, Tata, and POSCO. And actually, our service center business was started by POSCO. Our valued clients, multinationals, automotive companies, panel manufacturers, solar manufacturers. We also process steel for Swedish Steel, SSAB in India, the only process house they have, in this part of the world. We also look at processing high-strength steel. We cater to L&E segment also, excavator division for L&T, Volvo, and others. Steel Service Center. I'm very passionate about this business. This is what I set up at the age of 22. And looking back at our facility, we had Mr. Bang come in 20 years ago, and he called it a big football field. And now, some of the images of the screen showcase you as one of these service centers in Bangalore and in South India. What we do very innovatively is use technology to our favor. We have SAP, which you've enrolled. Once you get your steel in, it captures your coil, your details. It goes into your program, the material is processed, and the IoT takes over. What IoT does, very special for us, is the machine talks to SAP, and the data is captured naturally and pushed to the customer. The QC is also online. So your thickness measurement, your flatness, your online reporting happens through IoT. This is the new age facility. What we have in our facility is cut to length, slitting, blanking line, and we cater to all different products: hot rolled, cold rolled, galvanized, electrical steel, stainless steel, so all the varieties. And what I've learned about the service center in my travel across the world is it is the backbone of any steel mill. And I'd like to share an experience when I went to Korea to visit at least half a dozen service center mills. There are some of them which are public listed. They are world class. They use technology to their benefit. They use the best machines money can buy to their benefit. And also the mills support the service centers. And I think in the two manufacturers of steel in Korea, POSCO and Hyundai, and I don't think they have their own service center. It is only through channel partners. They encourage the business the same way. And I look at it, if the mills encourage downstream MSMEs to set up world-class facilities, it would be different. The other topics have been touched by a panelist about just-in-delivery, the advantage of a service center. They create buffer zones or buffer stocks, because what we understand is steel mills cannot produce all the grades all the time. So the steel mill, the steel service center actually store the material and deliver when they require. The future of India, of service center, very excited. Thanks, Monica, for letting the world know that it is a business, and it is the business we all need to be in. It is the last mile delivery. If you're going to have 300 million tons of steel, you're going to produce, we need more than 1,500 service centers. I'm talking about world-class service centers. We're talking small time like Hubli, Coimbatore, Cochin, Calicut, Vizag. We can keep going on. There may be tier 2, tier 3 cities where facilities are set up. Traditionally, service centers were called cutters. And yes, they didn't invest in technology, nor in machines, nor in people. But going forward, I think things will change. And as per the poll, if MSME gets into the act together, it would create the best facilities available in this world. And what the service center does for the steel consumption in India is will increase it, because it still be available in the form and in the dimensions the end user needs it. So what I call is connect the customer, the last mile, with the mill. And the service center, I think, plays a very, very, very important role in doing this thing. And technology and its advantage, we've heard it from AMNS. Yes, it's very important. What IoT does is the machine talks to the customer. The customer is able to view his product. The customer is able to change in case there's a problem in the product. SAP is the inventory. It's transparent. Service centers, if they invest in that, would do it. And it cuts down on pilferage and wastage. In our factory, we've noticed that everything end-to-end is monitored. This is your finished product. This is your scrap. There is no problem of tallying the two. 90% of a problem comes in when you're not able to tally inventory. So you're able to manage those. And all your reports, all your end reports are managed well. What Triveni Enterprise has done well over the years is learn from its service center business, its trading business. what we call pre-engineering building today. It's the biggest industry you can cater to. It's the single largest employer provider. This is where we require steel, the largest consumption of steel as an industry also, if we leave automotive behind. And I call ourselves, or what the service center can do is create a Raymond shop, a man store. You come in suited, booted. How do you do that? You go to a Raymond shop, you can get your shoes, you can get your shirt, your tie, your pant, everything. And if we can do that in the service center business, and Triveni is doing that. We give the TMT bars for the construction, we give the sheets, purlins, plates, cut to size. What happens in the end? The cost of the product comes down. And how do we do that? In America, they call a pre-engineered building a box. You can have a box of 20,000 square foot, 40,000 square foot, 1 lakh square feet. The heights can vary from 8 meters to 12 meters. But why do we need to invest? Why do we need to invest in expensive architects? Why do we need to invest in expensive technology? So what we've done is created a KPO model at the back end. And the KPO model does that is this: you put in your data, this is the square foot of shed you require, it throws out the numbers. And who requires a warehouse? Who requires a pre-engineered building? Amazon, Flipkart, warehouse, factories. And what do they do? They connect the last mile. So what is Amazon and what is doing to us today is making a product available on a phone call. If something can be done on steel in a similar way, if somebody wants a particular product, it's available through a phone call or available through a certain easy business transaction. And I totally believe that the entire business model is moving over that, where we look at how a steel is serviced, how a customer can buy it transparently, how the economics works transparently in the service center business. Yeah, and thank you for having me this afternoon. It'll be a great honor to chat with you on one-to-one anytime. And Monica can share my details with you all. Thanks a lot, Monica.
Thank you so much, Ashirwad ji. And before I move on to our next panelist, I would like to raise one last poll question very, very quickly. People on your screen, please start voting. So the question is, what is the major hurdle for setting up a new steel service center? I believe this question is very close to the heart of many people. What is the major hurdle for setting up new service center? Your options are high capital and resources involved, or inadequate demand, or customer ignorance, or the last option, inadequate servicing options. And people watching on YouTube, please comment your answer in the comment section. What is the major hurdle for setting up new service center? Is it high capital and resource involved, or inadequate demand, or customer ignorance, or inadequate servicing options? Please vote very, very quickly. A lot of responses coming. So we have the answers now. I'm closing the poll. Answer on your screen. So 63% of our audience feels it is high capital and resource involved, which is the biggest hurdle in setting up a new service center. Whereas 15% feel inadequate demand, 12% feel customer ignorance, and 10% feel inadequate servicing options. So the majority goes to 63% is high capital and resources involved. I think this is where the role of service center comes in, end of the day. With this, I would like to welcome Mr. Swapnil. Mr. Swapnil, you're there? Yeah. Mr. Swapnil Amritkar, over to you.
Thanks, Monica. If you allow me to share my screen, I can start the presentation.
Yes. Just a second. So last panelist of the show, over to you, Mr. Swapnil.
Yeah, hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, you can put it on slideshow mode.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So I think we heard from all the panelists that there is a need for the steel service centers. There is a lot of possible demand for that as well. And Mr. Agarwal talked about a little bit about how it is helping him to run his business well with the digitalization. So I'm coming from a company called Interim Analytics, and our product ShopWorx helps the manufacturer, helps the people who are in the plant on a daily basis to run their production on time, on target, in the easiest manner. And that's what we do, and that's what I'm going to give a little bit view into how this can be done, and if you are supporting an existing service center and if you want to grow that, or you are planning to set up a new one, how this can help you in making sure that that runs effectively. Now, digitalization, again, you can call it with different names. You can call it Industry 4.0, you can call it industrial IoT. But digitalization, what it means is all the complete factory is running with completely in a digital manner. So your orders are coming online from your customers. Your production schedule is being prepared in the system what you have. Your production is getting monitored. Your quality is getting monitored. And your end customer needs are being tracked till the shipment goes out to the customer, and maybe even up to the customer gate, so that you ensure that everything is actually as per the plan. But there are a lot of things which are basically driving the demand for digitalization, and especially for the steel service centers. The first and the foremost is the customers are demanding now a lot more variants, a lot more possible varied products. And I think some of the panelists talked about various ways now we can provide standardized solutions to the customers. But that may mean actually there might be a lot more variants which we need to deal with. So the customer demands are increasing. Customer is demanding predictability in the delivery. With just in time, you don't want to be waiting for the delivery to happen. So that is, I think, the foremost thing what everybody is going to face and is facing when they are running their operations. The other one is the asset uptime, because if you are running your operation and you want to meet just in time demand, all your assets, all your machinery, all your plant equipment need to be running at a best possible way and without any downtimes. And without monitoring.
Sorry to interrupt, Swapnil ji. I think your slides are not moving. Can you put it on slideshow mode, because we are able to see the first slide only? Yeah, now your third slide is visible to us.
Okay, I think there is something. I was in the slideshow mode. Okay. sorry about that. Hopefully you are able to see this the slide, this one now.
Yeah, so you can put it on slideshow mode on top of your screen. Yeah, button. Yeah.
Now it's in this one correctly?
No, sir, it's still not on slideshow mode.
Okay, let me continue like that. I don't want to waste too much time on that.
Yeah.
So the other part, which is like the traceability, is becoming very important now, because you might need traceability from your raw material to the finished goods as a requirement from the customer, or you might want to use it for your own purpose to track the defects and ensure that everything is being taken care of before your customer complains about it. And there will be a lot of regulatory compliances which will be required. They will be required with environment. Somebody talked about safety. And there is a traceability which is now very important for automotive manufacturers. Going forward, I am sure that will become important for consumer good manufacturers as well. But the digitalization is not without any challenges, and just wanted to kind of highlight few of those here. And of course, there are these are different for different manufacturers, different plants, but these are in general what we have seen as the challenges which actually stop the successful digitalization. So one is the clear vision, and I think that actually is very simple to state and understand, but many times it is something which is very difficult to implement. Without the clear vision, what is that we want to digitize and what is the outcome of that? It's very difficult to implement anything which is useful to you and without much of a expense which could have been avoided. The second part is the defining precisely what is the problem, what we are trying to solve. And if that is something which is not there, the solutions will address the problem which either is not priority for you or it is not there at all, and then the end goal is not met. There will be a lot of discussion around the ROI when you talk about digitization. ROI is dependent on what is the problem you are going to solve, and there will be sometimes maybe there is no straightforward answer to it. So we need to be ready to look at both qualitative as well as quantitative part of the ROI when we are talking about digitalization projects. One which item which gets most of the time overseen is the interoperability between various systems you are trying to put. Now it's possible that some of the systems are already existing, some of the systems you are buying from various vendors, some of the new systems which are coming in. Ensuring these systems work with each other is something which is a big challenge, especially where something is already set up. But for new plants as well, because you might be buying things from multiple OEMs, multiple machine manufacturers, and whose systems may not work together in a seamless manner. Speed of execution, if it is too slow, you basically miss the bus. Your competition will be overtaking on that. On the other hand, you will be actually wasting money and wasting time, which is gone in actually putting these digitalization efforts in place. So that's something which is very, very important, and we have seen that with multiple customers where the speed of the execution has actually not achieved the actual final reasons, and they should have been done at much faster pace. And the last but not the least is the organization structure which you need to support this kind of any of these kind of digitalization initiatives. Without the right structure and without the right set of people who are driving this, it will become difficult to adopt something like this in the company, and hence it is something very important from that angle. So what do you do? How do you approach this problem? And I don't want to kind of sound that it is very difficult to do it. It is possible to be done. We have done it with multiple of our customers, and Mr. Agarwal is one of them. So it is not very difficult to do it. It's just that we need to do it step by step in a proper way. The first and foremost is define the goals. Clearly define what is the problem, what we are trying to solve. It can be a very small problem, it can be a large problem, it doesn't really matter. But as long as it is properly defined and listed out properly, it is very easy to then define a solution which will solve it. Find a partner who will work with you. When I say partner, it doesn't mean an external vendor. It can be a team within your company as well. It really doesn't matter. But somebody who understands the technology, so understands the goals, understands how it needs to be done, is what you want to get on board for doing this. Choose the technology wisely, which is scalable and which actually scales with your goals. A lot of time it happens that we choose the technology which is only solving one problem, which is immediate problem, but then doesn't scale to the solving other problems. So it may be initially slightly higher investment because you're choosing a technology which can scale, but something which will help you in the long term. And other part which I think I don't need to kind of hammer on is the plan. Define, and then execute. Because without that, whatever you execute will not achieve the goals. And that is something which need to happen on a very regular basis whenever you're talking about any of these type of digitalization initiatives. Now, what is that we are talking about? Like, are we talking about completely a new set of parameters, or are we talking about something which is already existing? So I'm not talking about anything new. These are something which are already there in the industry in a lot of places. What I'm talking about is actually getting these things working together to form a seamless system which will help you to deliver to your customers. These are some of the examples, and again, this is not an exhaustive list of what can be done. First and foremost is monitoring what is going on your shop floor in a real-time basis. To ensure that everything is working as per the plan, your equipments are running as per your required OE, your production timelines are as per the customer requirements. And I think that is the first thing which needs to happen whenever you're talking about anything related with digitalization. We talked about asset uptime, monitoring vibrations and temperatures to ensure that your equipment is running at a proper condition, it is providing proper production parameters to the machine. Foremost, because without that you will not be able to get the quality as well as the quantity which you want to deliver. Quality measurements, be it auto gauging as the production continues, instead of doing offline one-off testing of the final finished product, monitoring all your environment, monitoring your parameters what you're using for surface treatment, vision-based systems for surface defect detection, for example, curvature or scratches or things like that. These things will help to ensure that the quality what is going out is optimal and your rejection rate can be reduced drastically with that. I talked about traceability. Adding the QR codes on each sheet or a coil will help you to ensure that you can trace the product from its raw material to the end customer. You can link the other dimensions, mechanical properties, quality related parameters to this QR code, so that
So you have few seconds to go, sir.
I'm almost at the end or saying. So that will basically help you to ensure that you can do a dynamic recipe control if that is what is required, or even handle customer complaints because you know exactly how it has been done. So these are some of the digitization examples from our customers. There are, of course, many more. So again, to summarize, what will be the success factors for the effective digitalization? One is the involvement from the senior management and adequate funding. That is something which many times gets ignored, and we start with something which is not adequate. Now, when I say adequate, it doesn't mean a lot, but it's something which hopefully should be able to get you what you are aiming for. Skill enhancement, ensuring the correct staff is available, they are trained properly to ensure what you're trying to solve is being addressed. Problem prioritization, let's not choose the easiest one to solve, choose the most important problem to solve, and find the right partner either internally or externally to work with you on this. And I think that's the thing. There is no silver bullet, unfortunately. we need to work together to solve the problem, and I think that's something which helps in the longer run. Thank you. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Swapnil ji. And before I start the Q&A, I would like to thank our sponsors, starting from ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel, a joint venture between Nippon Steel and ArcelorMittal, making one-stop solution for all branded products in ESH. I would like to thank Triveni, celebrating 50 years and making his father proud, Mr. O.P. Agarwal. Ashirwad ji, many congratulations. Thanking Steel House, a preferred and leading distributor of flat steel products in southern India, and our associate partners, Sharoff Steel and MAGNUM. With this, I'll start the Q&A. We have received several questions, and I will request each panelist to start responding one by one. So this first question I'm taking is from Mr. Saji Samuel from JSW Steel. His question is, what is the help required going forward on steel charter as announced by Government of India of 300 million ton per annum for service center? So this question is open to all the panelists. Anybody can answer and raise the hand to answer this. So maybe I think since the question has come from Mr. Saji Samuel, maybe Mr. Rakesh would like to answer that. So
He is my colleague and he knows my answer and I know his question. So I think the best person to answer this question is actually Mahesh. But
Mahesh, sir.
if you
yeah. Maybe one by one you can answer because it's an open question.
300 million ton, Mahesh has already said that it is not going to happen. You know? His projection is close to 200 million ton by 2030. And what I have been able to push myself under my calculations is not more than 170 million ton. So 300 is certainly off radar, and we must realize this. That is one thing for sure. Now, what we need is nothing. You have to at least plan 200 million ton. If you feel 200 million ton is on the card, yes, as I just said that 120-25 is very much on. So I think 160, 170 is very much on. And in my opinion, my guess was that 15-16 million ton would have been sufficient. But I think a lot of people are quite optimistic after hearing Ashirwad and everybody. My opinion started shifting slightly on the higher side, I would say. So maybe, in my opinion, another 4-5 million ton in the organized sector. The key word is organized sector. The key word is quality sensitive and quality service centers. Right, they must come up. It is not just any simple slitting or cutting, or the key word was cutting, what we have been using so far. Yeah. The days are over for them, I feel, because it is the appliance sector which is going to go up suddenly in a big way. It is the electrical steel after EVs, those things are going to go up. And if construction also takes up, then what Triveni is doing a wonderful job, or even what Neil has, HR service processing center.
Mahesh, sir,
also. But good quality service centers are the order of the day.
Understood, Rakesh sir. Mahesh, your point.
As far as this 300 million tons steel production is concerned, I will not say it is not achievable. But definitely the timeline which has been set may be slightly extended to that. In fact, out of 300 million tons, you are not going to consume entire material in the country. It's a production which has been set, and this has been policy has been made. Out of that, in case you see really that the benchmarking for the production within country was around 230 to 236 million tons. And if you go by the way the per capita consumption India today has, by that theory, I think there's a lot of scope that this figure is reachable. I'm not saying it's not reachable, but definitely in between last 10 years, the growth which has come in the steel was not that high. But if you see last 1.5 years, which somebody can say this may be a sporadic for 1.5 years, 2 years. But in case you see the entire world scenario today, where the infrastructure has started in Europe and very fast speed, even the USA, if you talk, the country India itself, if you talk. So, in my opinion, you must have heard a lot of interviews from a lot of seniors and a lot of pundits in the steel industry. Next 10 years are going to be the with the steel industry. And that is the prediction what is giving. Even today, sometimes people start feeling the prices come down, so people feel now nothing is going to happen, everything will come down. No, prices plus minus cannot be a direction for steel consumption. The steel industry is going to go up, and I think I'm very much optimistic for this figure of 236 million consumption in the country for next few years time to come. So definitely, as you say, service center, this is a lot of opportunity. I'm from sale. In fact, I say because I'm a bulk producer, I may not go directly for steel center service. But as Mr. Triveni, Mr. Ashirwad, he is very much now part of steel he is using from sale only and using a service center. So I consider this service center is my service center. So I have so many service centers like this. And if you say I can give you figures which is going in lakhs of tons. And the way second port which you are looking, this can also further add up. Thank you.
Right. We have question for Mr. Swapnil. This question has been asked from Arun from MAGNUM. Swapnil ji, he want to know that will your system help service center to maintain the stocks? And second question, will it help to maintain FIFO? Swapnil ji.
So yeah, yes, it will help you maintain the stock. It will help you maintain the stock in a way it is most optimal for you, and I think that is what at least at the end should happen. The system helps you to manage your operations in a better way, and I guess like there will be a lot more things to talk about in detail, but that is what we are helping out the customers with: manage their stock, manage their raw material, manage their deliverables to the customers, and I think that's where this kind of systems will help for sure.
So Arunji has asked one question from Rakesh ji also. His question is, how does JSWMI manage the steel balance movement back from customer? Do they follow some kind of software or they do it manually?
So yeah, so this was something which is very new, and one more thing I would like to add, which I didn't say while presenting, is that these pellets are also from our own material, from our own arisals. There are some arisals which would actually have gone in as a scrap, and we try to utilize it in making steel pellets to remove the use of our body. So that is not a part of his answer. But to answer his question, how he's wanting to know as to how do we retrieve it. So today, as on date, we are retrieving it through our own manual monitoring. So now we are going for automation, where we are going for first, we are exploring a barcode or RFID kind of a thing for each item, so that the traceability can be maintained. And in next maybe 3 to 4 months' time, we should be adopting a technology to monitor where this particular pellet has actually gone to which customer. But today we are closely monitoring manually, and touch wood, there is no issue as of now. And people have started accepting it also. Initially, there was a lot of resistance as to how we will keep inventory of steel pellet with us. The customers were showing some resistance. But when they were explained that this is your contribution to nature, your contribution to the carbon footprint, then they have started accepting it. I will look forward to some solution from Swapnil also on this particular part of traceability of not just the inventory at the service center, but even the traceability of the pellets which actually go to the customer, sometimes at a remote locations as far as 300 to 400 kilometers away. So we know where this number of pellet has gone. So yeah, we are looking for a technological solution, but as of now, it is done manually. Yeah.
Right, right. So we have one question for MC Agarwal, sir. This question has been asked from BN Gupta. So he want to know if someone wants to put cut and bend service center, is that sale will support market development or do they have to do their own, sir?
Yeah, Ms. Gupta, it's question of now you are looking for cutting and bending. So service center doesn't mean only cutting and bending. There are a lot of things which has to be added in the service center. As we have already said in my discussion also, since we are a bulk producer, we will definitely like to go for some of service centers which are in-house or maybe controlled by sale as a whole. But primarily we like to go for service center through our the channel partners, which I say distributors. So definitely, I will not say that sale is going to invest in that service center what you are looking for. But in case you are only looking for a service center and we are going to have this distributor channel in a very big way, you will find in next 6 months time there's a lot of distributors available and with all service centers. So definitely there's a business opportunity for you. And the investments are not that big which you are looking for. You will definitely banking support and government is supporting now startups and small MSME sectors also. So support you will get definitely once you are looking for it. You can definitely meet my team somewhere wherever you find nearest to my offices. They will tell you how you can go for it.
We have one question from Manish Ramteke. He's from AMNS. He want to know what is the future of composite material in automobile industry? Anybody can answer. This is an open question. What is the future of composite materials in automobile industry? Arun, sir, you want to answer?
I would like to know what kind of composite material he's looking for right now. That can he elaborate his question, please?
So Manish, he said polymer.
Polymer, definitely. Polymer can be used only for the interior body, but definitely to have a crash resistance and to have a better safety feature, we should. The steel future is the high strength and the lower thickness material to get it to uplift the safety standard of the our passenger vehicle and the vehicles. Okay.
Okay. We have one question from Dheeraj Bhandari.
I think the use of composites are on the rise, and what I understand is this Ola scooters, they will be using in a big way. So as a product, it is there, but it's a threat to steel, our business. But as a product, composite are here to stay, and they are making a dent in the endeavor to make lightweight. I only wish the safety element, as Arun has pointed out, it should not be compromised, and it won't be typically. But to in favor of lightweights, people are going to convert some of the items.
Right. So we have one question for Mr. Swapnil. This question has been asked from Dheeraj Bhandari. He want to know, we are a stainless steel service center in Bengaluru and handle more than 15,000 tons. Can your software help us in digitalizing our business and service center? And does it have intelligent tool for slitting program?
Surely we can try to help, and I can see Mr. Agarwal smiling there because I think it's very similar to what he has done, and I think he mentioned a few of those things. So we can surely help, and of course, various types of operations can be supported with our kind of a system. But yeah, for surely we can help you out with that. Not an issue at all.
So I will take one or two questions and then I will have to end the session because we are already 10 minutes ahead now. This question has been asked from Harish Mistry. Again, this question is to you, Mr. Swapnil. Artificial intelligence can be useful in chain of supply. So
again, like
yeah,
just want to give a very short answer. Artificial intelligence is one of the tools which we can use for ensuring everything is running as per the requirements. Now, this can be related with quality, this can be related with your production, this can be related with any of the operations which are going on. So artificial intelligence is a tool, it's not the end product. I think the end product will be still the problem you are trying to solve, whether it is the quality deliverables to your customer or on-time deliverable to your customer, or managing your production mix, or managing your raw material, or whichever the problem you are trying to solve. So AI is useful, but it is not the end product for that.
So we have one question, people are also asking us a lot of question on YouTube. So I'm taking this last question. This question is from Sanatan Mishra. Since we have discussed that, there is a great future for skill service centers in India. So his question is related to that, to generate employments. His question is, what are the main challenges the steel industry is facing right now? And how do we see, employment opportunity in coming years for as far as skill service centers are concerned? This question is to Mr. Arun Pathak, and then maybe we can ask Ashirwad ji also to comment. He looks very excited. Yeah, Arun.
As far as service center is concerned, definitely service center is having very bright future in India, that to organized and unorganized sector both. Because till date, what is being called a service center as a cutter, but with the modernization and with the technology, we need good professionals, we need good talent in this business to take it forward. And definitely once the government push up and infrastructure projects and automobile sector will come to a certain stage, this business will definitely create a lot of employment, and still we are getting a lot of employment for the younger generation. So
Yeah,
there is a
Ashirwad
lot of
yes, sir. Ashirwad ji, we can't hear you. Sorry, can't hear you. Anybody else like to comment on employment generation in the coming future by steel service centers? I think Mr. MC Agarwal already touched upon, the role of entrepreneurs coming in with standalone service centers and how they're going to support the MSME sector. So would like to have a last comment from you, Mr. Agarwal.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have a comment on that, because I am very optimistic on, as far as employment is concerned, this will relate to my answers only. One, the moment your steel consumption is going to go up, that we are very sure the way things are moving in the country. And there are a lot of schemes which people generally read in the newspaper. That schemes are very much working also. Like har aadmi ko jal milna hai. These schemes are working. Maybe some people may be reading it is a jargon in the newspaper. No, but since we are supplying the material, so I am aware. So as far as once the steel consumption goes up and the infrastructure goes up, and along with the steel centers goes up, definitely the opportunities are much more. And particularly why I was talking this employment generation, because employment generation as such in the steel industry is going to be bulk industry also have a lot of generation. But at the same time, like small MSMEs, once they start looking for these revenues, which is going to come up. In fact, I am looking a lot of opportunities who can do something like, I can give you an example. I am producing like plates. I want somebody to manufacture it in the form of some ready-made material, which I can ask some customer to pick it up from there. So there is a lot of opportunities which is coming up. So employment generation, definitely it can be in the form of as employee, you can go to somebody, or you can yourself, start your business from that. And a lot of supports are available for pending sector. So I'm very optimistic.
Ashirwad ji, yes, Rakesh sir.
So one is employment generation directly as an employee. One step which we have taken recently and which we will implement this year is we have registered ourselves as skill development centers. So JSW MI plants will become skill development centers. So under the NSDI scheme, National Skill Development Program. And in that skill development center, we are not only going to enhance the skill levels of the local children, but also add entrepreneurial capabilities also in them, so that, as Mahesh said, that you would like somebody to take up certain fabrication job, and so that it can be then served to the rural or the end user actually. So we are trying to get into that. So that is also a kind of an employment generation where people will be empowered to earn their own bread and butter instead of seeking a job in some kind of an organization, which is becoming a challenge of late. So we
That's
are
a wonderful
that.
initiative
So
by
I see that will give us good result. And my own target is to generate at least 100 such children per plant. So if we have 4 plants, so by another 1.5 years time, we should be generating about 3 to 4 such 400 such boys who are skilled either to be employed, or if not employed, then at least do something of their own. That is what we are.
We wish to have you more centers like this so that more people can get trained, and it's a wonderful initiative by JSWMI for sure. Ashirwad ji, can I hear from you last time? Yeah. Oh, you're still not audible. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I think there's some problem with maybe you can remove your Bluetooth and talk directly. Because now I have to conclude the session, Ashirwad ji.
There's some issue.
Okay. Okay, sure. So I will have to conclude the session with this. I would like to end the session and thanking our fellow panelists, fellow expert panelists, starting from Mr. Rakesh Chauhan, Joint Managing Director, JSWMI Steel Service Center Private Limited, Mr. MC Agarwal, Executive Director, Sales and International Trade Division at Steel Authority of India Limited, Mr. Arun Pathak, Head Operations Service Center and Fabrication at AMNS India, Mr. Ashirwad Agarwal, Managing Director, Triveni Steel, Mr. Swapnil Amritkar, COO at ShopWorx. Our webinar sponsors, sponsored by ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India, Triveni Steel, Steel House, and our associate partner, Sharoff Steel and MAGNUM. Viewers, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel. Do not miss to subscribe, youtube.com/Metalogic PMS, and also do not miss to like the video. All webinars have been converted into all webinars have been documented and converted into a report, which the report of this webinar will be available on mymetalogic.com by next week. We will meet again on 25th of August with a new webinar on Indian merchant mining. Till then, take care and goodbye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
पेश है कलश प्रीमियम कलर कोटेड स्टील जिसमें घुले हैं ऐसे रंग जो बदलते वक्त में भी रहे हमेशा आपके साथ। अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बाय आर्सेलरमित्तल निप्पॉन स्टील इंडिया।
experience and with a vision turning into a reality, Magnum has become one of the largest consumer of flat steel products. Magnum operates two modern state-of-art steel processing centers at Gurgaon and Bawal, Haryana.